Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel for everything Arsenal and everything football. Thanks for being here. I hope you're all doing well. And welcome again to the Fantasy Tip Show. As usual, during this festive period, probably all of it, I've gotten Josh and Ben from FPL Graduates with me to review the last game week and the two upcoming game weeks pretty quickly. So, Josh, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for having us on yet again.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm good. All ready for this Christmas football.
Yeah, it's you're looking forward to it. I'm not as an FPL manager and not as an Arsenal fan. So it's probably one of the worst Christmas of recent times, but we move. So obviously, Josh, I'll put your team, last week's team, and you get us through it.
Yeah, so I had an actual brilliant week compared to the weeks gone by. 77 points. Captain Bruno Fernandes was the main one. 34-pointer was unreal. Great performance from Man United in that game. I was very happy. Vardy got a goal and an assist. Jack Grealish got 2 assists. Had a little assist from Charlie Taylor and De Bruyne as well chucked in there. So a really, really nice week. Saw me get a boost of about 600,000 in rank, which is tasty. I'm just hoping I can build up on that and get into the top 1 million now because I've had such a bad start.
Yeah, you're so lucky to have Bruno Fernandes. I've never had a chance to fit him in because of the likes of Salah and the likes of such kind of people. Kane. So he was obviously your game changer this week. Anyone who really disappointed you?
Giroud not actually playing was quite disappointing. He scored in the last fixture against Wolves before West Ham, so I thought he'd play, but now Tammy scored 2, so I'm not sure if he's going to be back in. He does love to score against Arsenal, so we'll have to wait and see.
Awesome. And Ben, I'll put your team right now. You got 4 more points than Josh, I think. So
it's only a couple more points only. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's another good week from me. I seem to consistently be getting between 60, 70 and 80 points. So in goal, McCarthy, he came in for Ryan, who didn't play, and Ryan's going to be one that I'll probably and that I have transferred out. Cresswell, Target and Justin. Defensively, I wasn't sure who to pick. I picked Justin, Target. Cresswell, the 1 point, could have been more with Dallas on the bench with 5 points, but 4 points in total missing out on. Not too concerned about that. I did have Salah captained until last night, well, the night before the game week, where it got leaked that he wasn't going to be playing. So I switched over to captain Bruno Fernandes, and he managed to get me an extra 2 points overall. So can't complain about that. Salah masterclass, Fernandes masterclass, really carrying my week through. The other 3 midfielders, Mara's a bit disappointed with at the moment. He's getting the minutes in midweek in the cup fixtures, but not in the Premier League. Son and Kane, they're due a blank at some point, so we won't mind that with the fixtures they got coming up. And then Calvert-Lewin ticking along as per usual with another return for me.
Guess which team they played in midweek? Thanks for reminding me again, Ben. Thank you very much for that. And
sorry.
my team is very, very far from Ben's and Josh's teams. For my team, first of all, I had to have a good bench because all 3 subs came on. Aubameyang was in the starting lineup, Lewis was in the starting lineup, and Bellerin was too. None of them played, so Ayling came on with the -1. That was painful. He was the last sub. Target got me a clean sheet. McCarthy didn't expect much against City, but I'm holding on to him until the end of the season. Torres and Bernardo Silva. I know you guys really don't like these two, but Bernardo Silva was on the bench anyway. I wasn't playing this week, but he came on for Aubameyang. Torres, a couple of good chances that he missed. Wilson always returns for me. Probably my best player in this team. Grealish too, Calvert-Lewin disappointing, Kane disappointing. The last 5 weeks, captain blank after captain blank, and I've captained Kane, I've captained Salah, I've captained Son, I've captained Aubameyang. All of them have blanked in the week I've captained them, so it's not looking good for me. As I said, I think I was like 100k 5 weeks ago, and I'm like 2 million or something. So it has been pretty rough. So the next game week is game week 15. I will take a look at game week 15 before 16. So Josh, I'll start with you. Which fixtures are you looking forward to in game week 15?
Yeah, so it's going to be quite an interesting one because it's Boxing Day, and it's usually quite high-scoring games on Boxing Day. They like to entertain the people. For me, the Liverpool game is massive because I'm probably going to captain Mo Salah at home to West Brom. I've taken a hit to get him into my team this week, so he's definitely going to be my captain, I feel. Another good game to look forward to, Sheffield United versus Everton. I know a lot of people have Calvert-Lewin. Hopefully, he might be able to actually return bigger than just what he's usual one return every week in that game. So a couple of good fixtures there. I'm not sure what everyone else is looking forward to. Ben, you got any?
Probably from an FPL perspective, Southampton away at Fulham. For my Southampton defender and goalkeeper, I've got Walker Peters and McCarthy in goal at the moment. So that'll be a big game for me in terms of FPL. It'll be interesting to see whether Mahrez starts against Newcastle. We got the goal midweek. Sorry, Glenn, but hopefully he does get some minutes because Newcastle at home is such a nice fixture as well, and a lot of people are overlooking that because of how Man City haven't been scoring as many goals as we thought they would. So I'd say that Man City Newcastle game is also a pretty big one for the game week.
Yeah, I would really want a player from City Newcastle. I have Bernardo Silva and Torres. I think Torres will start since he sat on the bench last night, but Bernardo Silva won't play. I really wish I could have the money for Sterling and De Bruyne because they're definitely going to start, and I wish I could have the funds for them, but unfortunately not. The other fixture this time, Josh, I've seen the light. I've taken out Aubameyang. I've brought in Salah. I'm going to captain him. If he doesn't return, I'm going to be in huge trouble because it's a choice between him and Son because Tottenham are playing and Son isn't playing. So let's see how it goes. And game week 16. Let's go to game week 16. Which fixtures will you be looking forward to, Josh?
Oh, is that to me? Sorry, I just had a little bit of lag.
Yeah, just me.
Game week 16. To be honest, I haven't actually had a properly good look. I've not been planning ahead too much because obviously a lot of people worrying about the double game week, etc. I'm just not too fussed really. So I'll have a look at some now. I know Southampton at home to West Ham's quite big for my defence, especially because I've got Cresswell, I've got Bednarek, I've got McCarthy. So realistically, I'd hope for a 0-0 there. Man City have Everton away, so that's not ideal. I think Liverpool have quite a good fixture of Newcastle away. It looks like I'll probably captain Mo Salah for those weeks, like 2 weeks in a bounce, because they're very nice fixtures. A home to West Brom and then away to Newcastle. He's yet to blank since coming back from COVID, so it's a shoo-in, and he definitely needs to be captain now.
Ben?
Yeah, for that game week, I'd say Spurs at home to Fulham is a really decent fixture to be looking at. Yeah, other than that, I wouldn't say there's too many other great fixtures in there.
Josh, do you think one of the players is going to be rested for one of those games, Tottenham, because Kane is playing today and it's a Carabao Cup? Will he get a rest in one of those matches coming up?
I don't think so. Mourinho don't tend to rest unless he really has to. Like I saw it in Man United, he just plays his best 11 as much as he possibly can. And I don't think Spurs really can actually afford to rest any players in the Premier League if they still want to put up a title challenge. We've seen them lose to Leicester at the weekend, lose to Liverpool in the week. So similar to Chelsea before they beat West Ham, lost 2 games on the bounce. So if they really want to keep up, because Liverpool are looking very sharp, they really need to play the best players in the fixtures they need to.
Awesome. So let's get into the FPL focus for this week, and it's going to be on Leeds. Because Leeds, in the next game, I think they have Burnley at home and then they have West Brom away. So some really good fixtures coming up. I know Josh's United ripped them off the park that day, 6 goals. But I think against these opponents, they're going to do better. So as usual, I'm going to ask you about the assets and you're going to tell me whether it's a yes or a no. So the first one, I'll start with you, Ben. Obviously, Bamford.
Yeah, well, having watched the Championship for many years, it is entirely confusing as to why Bamford has as many goals as he has right now, because he is probably one of the least clinical strikers I've seen it in my life. Like, I mean, against my team, against Reading, he was always hitting the post, hitting the bar, and we had a specific song for how rubbish he was. I won't repeat what the words are in that, but he he had expected goals of about 31 last season, only converted 14 of them. So it's one of them weird ones where he's converting a lot more than I think a lot of people were expecting him to. At the price point at the moment, the points he's providing, it's a good option. But I vowed from day one that I will never bring Bamford in because I don't rate him up top as a striker.
Josh, do you agree?
I disagree massively. I agreed with him at the start of the season because I saw the numbers from the Championship and it was quite alarming. But this season he's performing way different. Away from home, his conversion rate is something like 60%, but his home conversion rate is like 5%. So it's a real big contrast between both of them. You'll probably see, hopefully, his home one pick up a little bit more and his away one drop down. Obviously, saw him blank at Old Trafford when he probably could have scored a hat-trick. Let's be real, that game could have been like 10-7. So disappointing from me as a perspective of an owner, but ever since I brought him in, I've never regretted owning him. He's almost fixture proof. Leeds seem that way. They always tend to score, but for me, I'd want Leeds as attackers rather than the defenders because they concede so many shots and so many goals, but yet they still score them. So yeah, Bamford, a striker in that Leeds team, I think you can't go wrong for how much he's priced for.
Yeah, so I don't watch our last season. I didn't watch as much of Championship games as Ben did. But as soon as Rodrigo was signed before the start of the season, I wanted Rodrigo in my team. I knew he was going to play ahead of Bamford, but the season started and Bamford was playing and he kept playing and he kept playing and he kept playing and he still is playing. So I think it's a good option. And Ben, Rodrigo?
I wouldn't say that he's a great FPL option. I think for Leeds, he's a great player to have, but his stats on goal scoring isn't actually that high. Like last season, I know he scored less than 10 goals for Valencia. He's just not that sort of striker. He's more of a hard-working, pressing forward that Bielsa wants that will help create the chances for his teammates in behind him. So from an FPL perspective, I think from the start we knew it kind of wasn't what we were looking for our FPL teams, but nevertheless, he's still a good FPL striker and still one maybe if you wanted to take a punt on like a certain week if they got a great fixture, might be one to bring in and then see if he does well. If he doesn't do well, no problems, you can take it straight back out again.
Josh?
No for me. He similar to what Ben said. He's not the striker, if you know what I mean. He's not Patrick Bamford. I think there's other better midfielder options as well, like Rafinha and Jack Harrison. They get assists and a couple goals here and there. So yeah, and also he isn't playing all the time. You see him come off the bench quite a lot. So yeah, it's a bit of a risky one in FPL terms. I personally wouldn't go for him.
So that's a no for you. That's a no for you too, Ben?
Yeah, it's a no from me.
The next one is a real surprise. Josh, Rafinha. He came from nowhere and started playing. His technique is very, very good.
Yeah, he came from Ligue 1 for I think Rennes actually. So he's obviously quite proven in that league. But yeah, saw against Man United, he made the most of the space that he had. He obviously got 2 assists. I think a couple of weeks ago he scored as well against Everton when they won 1-0. So it's a really good. He's a really good player. He's quite cheap as well, which is interesting. So if you don't have Bamford and want a sort of a differential, he's probably the main man in that Leeds team to go after.
Ben?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Josh there. Like Rafinha's looks really sharp. He's looked really good and looked like he's settled down after maybe a tough start at Leeds. He wasn't quite getting the goals, assists, and getting in the space he's wanted. But I think he's understood now what Bielsa's system is, how he plays, and what his role is in that Leeds United system. And he's really blossoming into something quite decent. I think over the next few game weeks, we can see him returning a lot more frequently than we have seen previous in the season.
Awesome. Josh, the next one is Jack Harrison.
Yeah, I think he's quite underrated, actually. I can see him playing for Man City in the next couple of years because he's on loan from them. I think he's a really, really good footballer. He scored that great goal midweek last week, which went straight in top bins. He's got that ability about him. He can pull something out of nothing, similar to Jack Grealish, but obviously not as good just yet. I think he's really good. Is he better FPL-wise than Rafinha? Right now, I'd probably say no. But he's still also a very good option if you want a little different player. Between him and Rafinha, almost like one of them's going to return. It'd probably never be both of them returning. So it's an interesting pick if you're going for one of those two.
Ben?
Yeah, it is an interesting differential, Harrison. He's got some returns, which I didn't know whether he would, but he has, and he looks quite sharp. And I think potentially, if you are looking for that differential option, like Josh said, and you're looking at Leeds, and you could potentially see Rafinha being the more hyped player, getting a lot more managers bringing him in, and Harrison could be one of those underdogs that comes in and gets a load of points, and gets the returns that you need from what it'll be less than 5% owned.
Awesome. He also, I think, had an injury or something like that, but he's now back. And that goal he scored the other day. Wow. And then another one, I think I saw him on Josh's bench, I think, Dallas.
Yeah, it's Ben's bench, but I can
bench,
speak about him because he also scores bangers too, as we saw against Man United. It's a great little finish. The thing about Dallas is that he's super versatile, so he's always going to be playing in that Leeds team. He can play left back, right back, in midfield. He's always got a spot in that team. He's really, really like passionate. He's a proper passionate player, and he's got the ability to match it. You see him; he's had a lot of chances to score goals, more goals than he already has this season, and the only negative thing about it is that he's probably marked as a defender. I think if he was marked at that price as a midfielder, he'd be more appealing just because Leeds just don't really keep clean sheets and they concede so much. So potential minus points you see in there. He's obviously lucky to get the goal at the weekend. Otherwise, like in your case, Glenn, you got a -1 in your hands.
Yeah, it's painful. Ben, is he a very good option because he actually drifts to midfield and goes forward?
Yeah, well, Bielsa likes playing him right back, left back, and in defensive midfield. And in his past, 6 game weeks, he's got 4 returns, and these are against tough teams. Don't get it wrong. It's against the likes of Everton, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal. He's getting these returns against. So potentially not one you look for to get clean sheets all that often, but one definitely going forward is a real danger.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, there's some more options that we haven't talked about, the likes of Klitsch and Helder Costa and Ayling. Like in my case, I got Ayling because I saw the first 4 games and he was playing as a right back. He was going forward a lot, and then all of a sudden, he's a centre back. So I don't know how that works out. So, Josh, any other options from them?
I know a lot of people have the keeper because obviously of his price, but like I've obviously said previously, like clean sheet wise, Leeds are probably one of the worst teams to go for. Literally, I think the only option I'd probably go for at a push would be Dallas, but even then still, I don't think you can maintain getting attacking returns like someone like Trent or Robertson, like we've seen in the past. So yeah, so I'd say stay clear of the defence, but attacking wise, go gung-ho because they score goals no matter what. I think they've only not scored once or twice this season so far, so they're always bound to score, and any of their attackers usually do the job.
Ben, do you agree?
To an extent, I think Dallas is a great option, regardless whether he'll keep clean sheets or not, because he is the way he's getting forward. He's always going to be producing attacking returns, in my opinion. But yeah, going forwards, they look very decent. I kind of hold off on them because I'm not sure how long they can keep this goal scoring up for. And obviously against teams like Man United, they look spirited, but like if that keeps happening to them, how spirited are they going to stay and how many more goals will they score? Because you can't see if that Man United game happens again and again and again against different teams, you can't see them scoring 2 again in that sort of game.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to also ask you about how many players you get from Leeds, Josh, because they have Burnley at home, they have West Brom away. Obviously, they don't have a fixture in game week 18, but in game week 19, a double of Birmingham. Birmingham was a Premier League team a long time ago.
3 years ago.
Brighton and Southampton. I would love them to play against Birmingham. I'd definitely get 3 assets from them. So Brighton against Southampton in 1 week. So how many assets are we getting from Leeds? For these
for the foreseeable future, I reckon you could definitely double up. Obviously, the fixtures look a lot nicer. For example, the next 2 game weeks, you said they have Burnley and was it West Brom?
Yeah.
Yeah, West Brom. So those two teams, they're not going to score goals like Man United are. Well, you'd hope not anyway. And so, yeah, definitely someone like, obviously, Ben mentioned with Dallas. He's obviously a much better option because you have a lot more clean sheet potential there. And even in the double game week, Brighton have looked quite bad. And Southampton struggled to score recently due to the Danny Ings injury and stuff like that. So definitely, I'd probably double up. I'd go maybe Bamford and Dallas because I think you do need a Leeds attacker, and it's going to bite you sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Ben, how many players
I
from
think
Leeds?
I think you only need one from Leeds, to be honest. Their goals are quite spread around the team. I know Bamford gets a lot of them, but other than that, they do spread them out across the team quite nicely. So I think one of them, whether it be Dallas, Bamford, Rafinha, one of them will do, and don't waste your place on more than one Leeds player, I'd say. Because although they're a good team, I don't think it's worth the risk putting two of your assets on Leeds players.
I think I've done like five of these FPL focuses with Ben and Josh, and Ben always says no to Newcastle, to Aston Villa. I'm like, what kind of players does he have in his team? Because he gets like 70 points every single week. So this week I'm going to take a look at your team and get at least one player from that team. So let's see how it goes. So that was the Leeds FPL focus. Let's get into the game week 15 captain picks. Josh, I love the fixtures scrolling down the bottom again. Who are you captaining, and which player that you don't own would you like to captain if you had him?
Yeah, so obviously this is coming up. I think it's going to be a very interesting game week because there's a lot of quite easy games for a lot of high-owned players, which is going to be decent. But for me, it's going to be Mo Salah at home to West Brom. I can see him probably being captained by over like 2 million players this week. He's incredible at home. He's got probably the best fixture you can probably ask for as well. So he's going to be my captain this week. He's a fantastic player. And I'm so happy to have him back in my team after taking him out because of his COVID thing. It's really hit me, that has, because he's returned every week ever since he's come back. And I had Mane. He didn't return. Brought in De Bruyne this week. He only managed an assist. So not ideal. But yeah, Mo Salah's back and he's going to be amongst the goals this weekend without a doubt. A player that I don't own, that I'm worried about not owning this week, is probably going to be Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I took him out on my wild card because he had hard fixtures. I didn't think he'd be able to sustain what he's done, but he has. He's proved me wrong, and that's fair play. But I think he might be able to get more than one attack in return this week, which would be nice for all his owners. Would I captain him? Probably not, though. I think Mo Salah's too much of a shout to captain him.
How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I don't think you can look much past Mo Salah for in terms of captaincy picks. Another one which I'd say is a good shout would be Kevin De Bruyne or Raheem Sterling. Like both of them to Newcastle at home. Last time they played a team that's like similar to Newcastle, like someone like Burnley. Look what they did to them, and they could potentially do something like that again. So I'd say Sterling or De Bruyne is a good asset to captain if you don't have Salah.
I agree with that, Josh. This time round, I am going to go with the 2 million people. I'm not going to try any clever things. If I had like 3 captain returns from the previous weeks, I'd try something like a City player like Jesus. That's another one I forgot. I captained Jesus the same week he did. So this time around, it's there's no time for there's no room for failure. So I have to go with Salah. And then game week 16 captain picks. I'll start with you, Ben.
Game week 16. I haven't looked too far in advance for this, but if I was going to pick someone, Salah's probably going to be one of the options I'd go for, to be honest. Like if he returns against West Brom, I think it'll be surefire that we'll see him be my captain. Or I'll go for a Spurs asset, Fulham at home, Son and Kane, one of them two would definitely be an option to go for. I think, yeah, surely they will get goals against Fulham. I know they've been better defensively, but it's Spurs and we know what they do on the attack.
Josh, Newcastle, Liverpool. Is it a good fixture for Liverpool again, or are they retreat?
No, I think it is a very, very good fixture. Newcastle sort of gone under the radar with how many goals they're conceding. They seem to concede pretty much every week. Last year, they were a much better defensive team, but worse attacking. This year, it's polar opposite. They can't really defend much. So I'm definitely going to probably captain Salah already. It's almost set in stone. But the next two games, like game week 15 and 16, I think you can't overlook Spurs assets if you own them. If you don't own Salah, but you own Kane and Son, I think Wolves away is a good fixture. Wolves have looked terrible, to be honest. I think that you could see some returns from the Spurs boys there. And also, like Ben said, at home to Fulham. Although Fulham have been much more improved, I think they're without Anderson, their captain. He got sent off against Newcastle, so might not be as reassured at the back as they're usually expected recently.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'd probably go with Son or Kane again in that week, but I'm really scared one of them could be rested, even though Josh doesn't think so. But Son is a good option for that week, definitely. Ben, please just say something nice about Arsenal. Martinelli is back. Come on.
Yeah, he's back and then he came off, but he seems all right, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Trying to think of who would be all right to have in your FPL team, but I mean, Martinelli's being back is probably a good thing for you. He's going to have to start carrying the weight around a bit now, isn't he? Because no one else in the team seems to be doing an awful lot.
Yeah, I won't ask you to talk about Aston anymore for today. I know it's stressful for me too. So as usual, Josh, every single week. Before you get into that, what's your transfer for this week?
I've already made them. I made them straight away. I got Jack Grealish and Jamie Vardy out. I got Mo Salah and Keenan Davis in. Leaves me a bit of money spare in the bank as well.
What's your transfer, Ben?
So I've already made mine as well. Me and Josh were sat there, we're like, let's just make our transfers now, eh? Like, may as well. So I bought Matt Ryan out for Fraser Forster, who is Southampton's backup keeper, who's 4 million. And then I bought out Cresswell and brought in Joel Matip of Liverpool.
Awesome. Josh, again, who's the gem of the week for game week 15?
Cool. That's a good question. I'm gonna go for Patrick Bamford. Although he's not low owned, I could see him returning double digit haul against Burnley. I think away from home, Burnley aren't as good defensively as they are at home. I think we could see a good little return for Bamford.
Ben?
I'm going to go for Theo Walcott of Southampton. He's at 5.4 million. And when Danny Ings is out injured, Walcott has had the highest expected goals out of any Southampton asset. So that's going to be my one for Fulham away. I think that's a must-have.
Josh, Tammy Abraham, I see him scoring goals every single week. Is he a good option as a differential?
Not for me. I would not like to own him. I own Giroud over him. He needs a certain type of goal to score. Let's say 2-yard Tammy, as I know him of. He's just not that clinical either. I just couldn't have him in my FPL team. Last season, I had him at the start when he was scoring. He got about 14 goals before January. But him being like, there's so much rotation issues. That's what I'm finding with Giroud. I've sort of like, he's returned once, but was it worth bringing him in for the extra bit of money? I'm not really sure. Chelsea don't look too good right now. Even though they beat West Ham 3-0, West Ham just helped them out of there by playing terrible. So I'd stay clear of Chelsea in general unless you're getting the defensive options. And even still, they're injured at the minute. So who knows?
Josh, do you know which team they're playing this Saturday?
Yeah, but I reckon this could be the turning point, Who knows?
Turning point for them. Turning point for them, not for us. Ben, I'll start with you. Game week 15, which game will have the most goals?
Which game will have the most goals? I'm going to say, for the sake of everyone's captain, Liverpool against West Brom.
Will West Brom get any?
Yes, I think that.
He's got Matip.
I've got Matip. Yes, but Matip's scoring a hat-trick of headers, so it's fine.
Because I'm really thinking of bringing in one of their defenders. Josh, who's the better option, and which game will have the most goals?
Well, is that a Liverpool defender?
Yeah.
I think Andrew Robertson is the best one if you can afford it. Joel Matip, someone commented on our TikTok, said Joel Matip is like a what's it because he gets injured all the time. But so I don't know if I'd go for him. Obviously, you can't go for Fabinho because he's a midfielder on the game. So it's a bit hard. I think Andrew Robertson's the one that everyone wants, but they just refuse to admit it because he's 7 million. In terms of the most goals this week, I'm going to go a bit different. I'm going to go Leicester Man United. I can see like a 3-2 or something happening in that game. United and Leicester can't defend, and they both can attack. So it'll be interesting to see.
Awesome. And Ben, 3 players that will definitely score.
I'm going to say Mo Salah, Joel Matip, and
Wow.
we'll go for Martinelli.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being kind. Josh, 3 players that will definitely score.
I'm going to go for Bruno Fernandes, Mo Salah, and Patrick Bamford.
Bruno Fernandes. I really enjoyed owning him on my free hits. Like, he's such a good option.
You need him in, man. He's different gravy.
Yeah, as I told you guys last week, it doesn't matter whether the ball goes out; it's still a goal. Whatever happens, it's still a goal for Fernandes. And then game week 16, the last one, Ben, which game will have the most goals?
Game week 16. I'm gonna say, I don't know. There's a couple of good games in there, but I'm gonna say Spurs against Fulham.
Spurs against Fulham. And Josh?
I'm going to say Man City against Everton.
Man City against Everton. Okay. And goals? Who will score the goals, Josh?
Let's say De Bruyne a brace and Calvert-Lewin with a brace as well.
Awesome. Ben?
I'm going to say Sadio Mane, Heung-min Son, and Harry Kane.
I like that we just switched from Salah and Mane. Why not Mane this week and Salah next week?
Mane scores away from home and Salah scores at home. So that's the reason why.
That's why they're the graduates, and that's why I'm just hosting the show. That was a very quick answer without overthinking it. So what's the target for this week, Josh?
If I can get a 70-pointer again, I'll be absolutely buzzing. I want to try and get as close to that top 2 million as possible because it's getting to the crunch time, and I need to get my gears going. You know, I'll get it pumping.
And for the 2 weeks in total?
In total, if I can get around 130, I think I'll be quite happy with that.
Ben?
I'm going to go
in total.
I want to get 15 points over the average, so I don't know what the average will be, but if it's anywhere between 60 and 70 points, I'll be okay with that. And then probably the same for the next game week. So aiming for 130, 140 points from those 2 game weeks.
So who are you captaining this week, Ben?
Salah.
And the next game week?
Salah, Son, or Kane. I'm not too sure yet.
Josh?
It's a double Salah for me. I think I've just brought him in for a hit, and he's got 2 of the best fixtures you could probably ask for. So 2 Salahs in a row for me.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on and all your help for this year. Of course, we'll do more content next year. Ben, any last words?
Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Joel Matip goal. Let's go.
Josh?
Yeah, just thanks for having us on, Glenn. And have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a good New Year.
You too, man. I really hope Arsenal's fortunes change, and Merry Christmas to you both too. Make sure you follow them in FPL Graduates. Also, their TikTok. I see Josh rocking suits and all. I'm just like, what? So they do funny content on that. So make sure you check them out, and their FPL page on YouTube and FPL Graduates on Twitter. So good luck to everyone in Game Week 15 and Game Week 16. Thank you for supporting the FPL show this season, and thank you for watching. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later.